Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before starting the video, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button and give this video a like up. Roman Reigns was in action at WWE Royal Rumble 2025, but things did not go his way. He reignited his rivalry with Seth Rollins, and the two stars tried to eliminate each other in the 30-man match. However, CM Punk capitalized on the opportunity and eliminated both stars, only to be sent over the top rope by Logan Paul moments later. Seth Rollins then brutally attacked Reigns following the elimination and hit him with two curb stomps, one on the floor and the other on top of the steel steps. The head of the table has not been seen since the assault by Rollins, but could be planning on recreating the Bloodline upon his return to SmackDown. Jimmy Uso was in action this past Friday in a marquee match on WWE SmackDown. The veteran competed in a triple threat qualifier bout against LA Knight and Drew McIntyre but came up short. McIntyre picked up the victory to qualify for the men's Elimination Chamber match next month at the PLE in Toronto, Canada. Roman Reigns could approach Jimmy Uso in the weeks ahead and suggest that they reform the Bloodline. The 39-year-old has always been loyal to Reigns, and the two stars could begin to rebuild the faction on SmackDown. Roman Reigns may want to create the best version of the Bloodline possible upon his return to SmackDown. The Tribal Chief could request that Jimmy Uso ask his wife, Women's Tag Team Champion Naomi, to join the faction. Former WWE Women's Champion Nia Jax could also decide to join the faction. The irresistible force would become even more dominant, with the Bloodline assisting her during her matches moving forward if she were to join Reigns' group down the line. Roman Reigns defeated Solo Sikoa in a tribal combat match on Raw's debut episode on Netflix last month. After a brief hiatus, Sikoa returned this past Friday on SmackDown to attack the undisputed WWE Champion Cody Rhodes following the main event. The head of the table could have a conversation with Sikoa in the weeks ahead on SmackDown and make him an offer that he may not be able to refuse. Reigns could tell the 31-year-old that he would be willing to put their past issues behind them if he was willing to return to the Bloodline. Sikoa's ego would take a hit, but reuniting with Reigns may be the best decision for his career. The Rock made a surprise appearance on the January 6, 2025 episode of Raw and cut a babyface promo. He also appeared following the tribal combat match and placed the Eula Fala around Roman Reigns' neck following his victory over Solo Sikoa. The People's Champion may have decided to abandon the final boss character and could return to WWE television as a member of Roman Reigns' Bloodline faction on the road to WrestleMania 41. The Rock and Reigns worked well together at the shows last year, defeating Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins in the main event of Night 1 in tag team action. Roman Reigns has ruled WWE for years, but cracks have formed in the Bloodline. The faction that once seemed invincible has been weakened by betrayals, losses, and internal power struggles. With Solo Sikoa taking more control and potential new members entering the fold, Reigns must find a way to rebuild the Bloodline into an even stronger force than before. If Roman wants to reclaim his dominance on SmackDown, here are 4 creative ways he could recreate the Bloodline and reshape WWE in the process. If Roman Reigns wants to reestablish dominance, he needs a new enforcer, someone even more dangerous than Solo Sikoa. That man is Jacob Fatu. Fatu, known for his intense in-ring style and unrelenting aggression, is one of the most feared wrestlers outside WWE. He's a former MLW World Heavyweight Champion, and his combination of size, agility, and brutality makes him the perfect weapon for Roman's new Bloodline. Bringing Fatu into WWE would immediately shift the power dynamic within the Bloodline. Solo Sikoa has been growing into his own role, but Jacob Fatu's arrival could challenge Solo's position. Roman could manipulate the two into fighting for his approval, forcing them to push each other to new levels of dominance. Imagine the tension. Solo wants to prove himself as the true right-hand man, but Jacob Fatu is the wild card, willing to destroy anyone in his path. This could lead to a civil war within the bloodline, with Roman playing mind games, using their competition to keep his power intact. A rebuilt bloodline with Fatu as the new enforcer, alongside Roman, would make SmackDown must-see television. Roman Reigns could take inspiration from another dominant faction, Bullet Club, and expand the bloodline into a larger, international powerhouse. One way to do this? Recruit Tama Tonga and Tanga Loa, the Gorillas of Destiny. These two have the pedigree, being Heiku's sons, and the experience of dominating the tag team scene in NGPW. They already have ties to the bloodline, and with the bloodline needing reinforcements, they would be the perfect duo to step in. By bringing in Tama Tonga and Tanga Loa, Roman creates an even bigger empire. Instead of just being a family faction, the bloodline becomes a global force, with members ready to enforce Roman's will across different brands and continents. This also allows for future dream matches. Tama and Tanga versus the Usos, a battle for the greatest Samoan tag team in wrestling. Roman, Tama, and Tanga versus Cody Rhodes, Seth Rollins, and Kevin Owens. The new bloodline versus WWE's biggest heroes. A bloodline invasion of NXT. Roman could plant members in NXT to groom the next generation under his rule. By adding these two to the mix, Roman ensures that the bloodline doesn't just return, it evolves. One of the biggest shifts Roman could make in recreating the bloodline is replacing Paul Heyman with The Rock as a mentor and strategist. Heyman has been Roman's wise man since 2020, but after recent missteps, Roman could blame Heyman for the bloodline's downfall. If Roman feels betrayed or let down, he might look to another wrestling icon, his own cousin, The Rock. A scenario where The Rock officially joins the bloodline as an advisor would be earth-shattering. Instead of Roman listening to Heyman's whispers, he'd be guided by the Great One himself. The Rock's presence would also add a new level of legitimacy and power to the bloodline's legacy. Imagine The Rock standing behind Roman, delivering promos that solidify the group as WWE's true dynasty. The Rock mentoring Roman could plant seeds for an eventual betrayal. If The Rock tries to mold Roman into a version of himself, Reigns might reject it, leading to a WrestleMania showdown. Bringing in The Rock to oversee the bloodline's rebirth could lead to one of the biggest WWE stories ever told. The bloodline has always been about family, and if Roman truly wants to rebuild his empire, he needs to look to the next generation. Enter Zilla Fatu and Lance Anoa'i. Zilla Fatu, the son of Yumaka, has been training in wrestling and has the same hard-hitting style as his legendary father. Lance Anoa'i, the son of Samu, has already appeared in NLW and WWE in the past. By bringing in these younger members, Roman ensures that the bloodline remains a dynasty for years to come. Instead of relying on established names, he builds the group with fresh faces, molding them into future world champions. This also creates a fresh internal conflict. Does Roman treat them as pawns, using them to rebuild his power? Or does he genuinely try to guide them, only for them to eventually challenge him for the throne? Rebuilding the bloodline with younger family members would create long-term storytelling that could stretch for years, much like how The Shield once shaped WWE's landscape. Roman Reigns has two choices: adapt or fade away. The bloodline, as it once was, no longer exists. The Usos have turned their backs, Solo Sikoa is acting on his own, and Paul Heyman might not be as loyal as Roman believes. To truly dominate SmackDown once again, Roman must rebuild in a way that makes the bloodline even stronger, more ruthless, and more dangerous. By bringing in Jacob Fatu, expanding with Tama Tonga and Tanga Loa, replacing Heyman with The Rock, or elevating new blood, Roman could reshape the Bloodline into a faction that surpasses its original form. The question is, can Roman trust his own family, or will his quest for power eventually lead to his downfall? Only time will tell.